All right, we are back again on to Tuesday now. We had no trades yesterday. Basically, we had no swing points which were hit in New York session, apart from an SMT on Friday's high on the Dow Jones, but it was a really weak swing failure pattern, so it wasn't something I was interested in. Now, coming on to today, well, a couple things to note before we get into the 1 hour time frame. We are still in discount on this overall swing of the daily structure, as you can see on that. We are also inside of a daily fair value gap, which is making me a little bit cautious for any further longs. And I'm going to be really interested to see how the daily candle closes, to whether or not we inverse this. Another thing to note is that, and actually we have, of course, as you can see, we have filled that daily fair value gap now. I am interested to see as well, because we did have this new day opening gap, but London manipulated into it. Now there's still some gap left. However, the majority of the gap has been filled. We've already come to about 50% of the gap, so I wouldn't necessarily be using the remaining of the gap as a draw on where price might go. But let's remind ourselves of 4 hour structure. After this big impulsive leg on the left of my screen, what did we have? We left behind a 4 hour liquidity low, which we then took out. And if I turn on the fractal structure indicator, we have now made a fresh 4 hour market structure shift. So that does indicate to me that we could expect some higher prices. Now, looking above us, we have plenty of descending highs that we can target. Of course, back on the daily time frame, we are clearly in a downtrend. However, because of all of the equal and descending highs that we have, and this new 4 hour 4 hour fractal structure break, I could expect to see some of these highs potentially getting taken out. Although because of the higher time frame still being bearish, I wouldn't have loads and loads of confidence. Now, going into this individual trading day, it's another no news day, so I don't expect anything mental in terms of price action. Now, longs again, like yesterday, would have been a beauty to take in London session, manipulated under Asia low, and then we can see price starting to develop. So we could have a very similar picture to what we had yesterday. The only caveat to that being we are much closer to some liquidity targets today than we ever were yesterday. You can see this Thursday high we are very close to. We've just taken the Monday high. And so because my strategy revolves around liquidity raids that happen after the market open, I'll be looking at this Thursday high as a draw on liquidity. And if we reject that and we get some good confirmation, then I can look for a short. What that will look like is taking this Thursday high, a strong bearish displacement candle, and then maybe a 5 minute inverse to go along with it. And that would be the type of setup I would be looking at. And in the case of any longs, they are quite hard to imagine at this point, but I'd be looking for a run on the London low now. That's the only other low I can see, unless we form a swing low at this point. Otherwise, I'd be looking for a run on London low, a strong displacement away from it, and similarly, a 5 minute inverse or a 5 minute fair value gap, maybe with an SMT, something like that, to confirm a long. So, not going to expect too much, as it's quite a similar picture to what it was yesterday. I'll quickly just go over ES, and you can see it's practically identical. There's that 4 hour liquidity low taken out. We've broken structure, moved up, filled the majority of this new day opening gap, and we are, of course, still inside of this daily fair value gap. But that's why I'm going to be interested to see what the close is like and if we inverse this or not. So a very similar picture to what Nasdaq was. The indices are nicely in sync, but unfortunately, it looks like we could get another boring day unless we do get some big displacement off of the open. But without any news or anything, that's never a sure thing. So that's all I have today. Those are my swing points I'd be looking for. Those would be my draws on liquidity. And if we do get a reaction from any of them, then of course there might be a trade to be had. But I am prepared that we could get another day where the move of the day has already occurred and New York won't offer up too much.